Hello, I'm Micks Mowers and welcome to my channel. In today's video will also be my little tiny Riley boy. Say hi, Riley boy.
Hey, Riley!
Today is Sunday. You're going back to school tomorrow after a very, very extended, long Christmas break because we had a bit of COVID in between. So you're going back to school tomorrow. Looking forward to it?
Yeah.
I cannot wait. So that's good. Also, just fired up my diesel heater because I had a bit of a problem with it yesterday. I was on Conker's live stream and my fuel filter fractured for some reason. Don't know why. So I had to bypass it yesterday. But I was getting a little bit of vapour coming out of it, which I thought was exhaust vapour, but it's not. I think what it is actually just moisture off of the exhaust outside. So I'm going to have to build like a little tiny umbrella, if you like, a shield for it, just to protect it from the elements outside so it doesn't get wet. I was a bit concerned it was actually exhaust fumes, but my carbon monoxide poisoning device has not gone off and the shed's all been shut. So it will go off if there's a problem. But at the moment it hasn't, so I'm just giving it a good run. I don't know if you can pick the noise up in the background, but my diesel heater is on full belt. It is warming the shed through lovely, and I get some nice heat off of that as well. Really, it is a fantastic bit of kit. If you haven't got a diesel heater yet, I would highly recommend getting one. Even when it's really, really cold, they're great. But this one's a little bit nippy like today. It's about 8, 9 degrees. A little bit nippy out. Just turn it on for about an hour or two just to warm the shed through, and it just warms it up nice. So the diesel heater is on full belt. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at the Massport 400 that I picked up just before Christmas. I got it all running. I think it had a safety switch issue, so there is a video to be watched up in the top right hand corner now, or left hand corner, whichever one it is, on how to fix a safety switch on one of those Massports. But the problem I have is with this machine is that as soon as you start it up, the cylinder is running. And from what I've been told, they don't. Apparently they've got like a centrifugal clutch on those, and when you put the revs up and engage the drive, that's when the cylinder should cut in. But at the moment the cylinder is running all the time, so I want to get it in, get it looked at, because the season won't be long before it's on us, and I want to get this machine up, ready, serviced and sold, because it should fetch a pretty penny come the season. So that'd be good. Happy, Riley boy? Mm-hmm. Good. So if this is your first time in watching Micks Mowers and Man, hit the subscribe button or whack the old bell. That way you'll be told next time we're uploading a video. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty. Let's get this Massport up on the bench and get it stripped down. Have a look at this clutch to see what it is actually doing. It might just be sticky, it might want a new clutch, I don't know. I've not worked on one before, so I'm learning the very first time, as are possibly some of you girls and guys. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty. Let's get it up on the bench. Right, so a quick little look at this Massport and Riley boy. Mind yourself, it is a bit slippy out here, but don't you falling over. Just go easy, that's it, good stepping. So I've got the Massport 400 here. As I say, I did get it running towards the tail end of the season. I think what it was, I could actually turn it off. I think that was a problem. The switch was continually on all the time, and it's got a dead man's handle on it. And the dead man's handle was not actually working. So I think that was the actual problem originally. I need to get a new tripod. I think my tripod's on its way out. Not very old, this one. Let's just check, pardon me, let's just check for fuel. Okay. Any fuel, bit of fuel.
Not really.
So this has been sat over the winter. Perfect. With V-power in it. It's not idling right either yet, so that should be on or off, it says there. Let's put it onto choke. Rabbit is full throttle is that way. So it should start, we say, hopefully. So as you can see, the cylinder is running all the time. It never stops. So the throttle, when I knock it all the way back, it cuts the machine out. It should idle, I would have thought. So I need to sort that out, see what's going on with that. I'm going to remove this side cover, see if it has any reflection on that stop-start switch. I don't think it does. So stop-start switch wants looking at again, just on the throttle side of things. And want to look at that clutch, see what that clutch is doing. I think the clutch is just stuck in there maybe. That's what I'm hoping. Because that cylinder shouldn't cut in until the throttle is up. And I can't get the machine to idle low enough for the blade to stop. So that is the idea. So let's get it up on the bench. Quick little look. Okay, Massport now up on the old bench. So a quick little look. We want a Phillips screwdriver first off. That's the first one we're going to need. Let's make a bit of room here. Got an older engine here. It's just sat here. It needs to be scrapped out. Need to get rid of it. Phillips screwdriver. And it looks like we've got one screw here to remove or bolt with a washer. I'll remove the HT lead as well. Another one here possibly. And then I've got another two at the back, exactly the same positions as the front. And that should remove the housing. Now I'm hoping it's going to be quite a simple fix. It's either going to be the clutch is an issue or the adjustment on the side casing. Either way, I'm going to remove both. Just removing these back screws, and it looks like I've got another one to remove on the side of this cowling. I'm going to remove that. Which is that one, and it's got one here as well, which looks to be about a 13mm. Let's grab a 13mm socket and a ratchet. Let's go about 13. I'll remove that one just to give us a bit of exposure, just so we can see what's actually going on inside, just to get a gist of what's actually, how it works and what's going on. It's all chain driven, which is good to see. So this is the cylinder, and what I'm looking to see is what I want to see. I want to see that this output shaft not moving. See, all the time that's spinning, then that will drive the cylinder. That's a little tiny adjuster bolt there, and that's got nothing to do with it. So we got a roller cog at the back. I'm not quite sure what that one does yet. I'm to figure out what that one's doing. That's just transverse onto there. So I'll just remove this cover first off then, just to see what we've got going on. I hope we can remove all of this in one go rather than mucking about. Go. Bit of grass in here, so it's not seen the light of day for a little while. That's a good opportunity just to get in here and just clean some of this out. So there's the cylinder. Now, funnily enough, I can actually spin that drum, and the clutch is staying where it should do. So let me try and just pull that over. So that gives us an output. Yeah, that's actually just spinning. So I don't think that's actually a problem with the clutch then. I'm pulling that over now. I think the clutch is working, because you can see this is spinning here, but the engagement for the cylinder, I don't think it's revving low enough. So that's for drive, that's for dead man switch. I want to sort out what's going on with this throttle. I've got a feeling it could be a carburetor issue and it's not idling down low enough. Let me just show you guys what I'm on about. Okay, so as you can see here, I've zoomed you right in. So now, if I just turn the clutch bell housing, which is what is actually going to be turning this cylinder down below, you can see the clutch is actually staying where it needs to be. Okay, so that's not the issue. But if I pull the cord very gently, and the spark plug boot has been removed, so it can't start, you will see that the clutch spins, but I'll grab the bell housing and that's not spinning. The clutch is, but the bell housing isn't. So that's telling me that as long as the revs are low enough, then that clutch shouldn't spin. So I have a sneaky suspicion that the carburetor needs to be cleaned to bring the revs down low enough. But the problem I'm having is every time I reduce the tick over down to next to nothing, it cuts the engine out. That's a problem I'm having. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this this cover, which is the dead man's brake cover, because what I'm not convinced is it feels like the second I reduce the revs to where it should be idling, it cuts the machine out sort of instantly, as if the two are linked. So what I want to do is just want to double check that the throttle has got nothing to do with the linkage at all. No, it hasn't. With this dead man, that's what I'm saying. So no. So what I'm going to go for, despite the clutch problem I've got, I'm actually going to go for a carburetor clean. If I go for a carburetor clean, then that way I can make sure the carburetor is clean, set up and as it should be, and therefore it should then run at a lot more of a lower speed, and hopefully that will then stop that cylinder from running. So give us 2 ticks, I'll be back to you when I get it sorted out. So the first thing I want to do, because what's happening is, when I reduce the speed on the throttle, the machine is cutting out dead, and the machine is not idling low enough. That's the problem I'm having. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this bolt here, this one, which should remove this plastic shrouding. I should then be able to remove the fuel tank, get that out of the way. Once that's out of the way, I can then have a look underneath here. I'm not convinced there's actually a kill switch underneath here. I don't think there's a kill switch, but it is stopping like it is hitting a kill switch. So let me get these bolts undone, get this tank sort of semi-removed, and I'll come back to you once I've done that. Okay, so taking the tank off, that's not too hard to do, just undo them 4 bolts and the tank will come away. So what I have actually found is there is actually a secondary kill switch on here. Despite you had the first one around the other side, which I showed in the first video, there's actually a secondary kill switch, and that now will explain when I move the throttle to full throttle, which is all the way back here, it will rev lovely. But the second you bring it all the way down to where you would like to idle it, you get to about there, and that's where the idle should be. However, any further down to this position, and it will bridge this little tiny gap just here. Let me show you what I'm on about. So there's a little tiny micro switch, and it is located just here. And when this piece here connects to this piece via the throttle arm, that will short your engine out and stop your engine. But the problem I'm having is that I can't reduce the revs low enough to there and allow the engine to idle to stop that cylinder from spinning before the engine cuts out in that position there. So I need to do one or two things. It's a problem, one or two things I think I've got. I think the issue I've got is it's either going to be a carburetor issue and the machine isn't idling low enough. That could be it. Or it's a clutch spring issue. If the clutch springs are a little bit weak, it looks really, really clean in there too, guys. It doesn't look at all dirty. It looks really good in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a carburetor clean, because this machine has not been running over a couple of years or a year or so that I know of. So I'm going to go for a carburetor clean first off. just to sort of make sure my theory is correct, that the carburetor is clean, it's running as low as it should, because sometimes these machines don't idle right if the carburetor is dirty. So carburetor clean first, do that. If then the machine will still not idle as low as it should do, then it must be a clutch problem, and then that way I will then know, and we can go back and look at the clutch. But let's get the carburetor done first. That would be the easiest thing to do, and all I want to do is remove the spring off of here. This little spring has got to come off, so just make a note of where it goes. There's an eyelet just there. That just lifts off and comes off and goes like that. That's fine. I've got to remove this little tiny governor arm here. That's no drama. And then remove this little linkage here, which is your choke. Undo these two bolts here and here, and that then should, by rights, come off the machine with no other drama. So yeah, that should be it. So that's all I've got to do. Let me remove this throttle as well, this air box, so it all comes off together, and then we'll go from there. Right, carb is off. Let's try and loosen this air box off it first. There's actually quite a bit involved in removing this carb, just with the linkages, so just go careful, guys. Just make sure you're making notes of where stuff goes, and take photographs before you take it all apart, yeah? Now, I'm not convinced, as of yet, I'm making the right move. But all I know is that this carburetor has not been off this machine in a year that I know, because this machine was sat up for an entire year. Pardon me, so that I do know. So I just want to sort of make sure that I'm doing it right, because someone's adjusted that tick over idle all the way out. Do you see it just there? All the way out. Now that should at least be in by 3 threads to make it run right. So I have a sneaky feeling we're going to have a bit of a blocked carb in here. So that's what I'm guessing. And if that's not it, it's going to be the clutch. But let me get another battery in this GoPro, and then we'll take this carburetor apart, see what's inside it, give it a bit of a clean, and then we'll go from there. Right, so a quick little look then. Let's crack the old bottom bowl nut off. Give it a quick little crack. Tip the carb onto its side, because we want to catch as much of this gunk as we can. Nice clean rag underneath. Start to withdraw the main jet bolt. And there you go. Look at the dirt in there. Look. Bit of dirt, bit of water in there, all that sort of stuff. So that's not good. That's definitely not going to help towards the running of this carby. So it will be running a little bit gunky. There's still bits of dirt inside here as well. So I'm going to clean all this out. There's no mixture screw on here either to make it to idle it down, which is a shame. All you've got is like a Welch plug there. I don't think there'd be one. There could be a jet hidden behind there. Could be. I don't want to remove it though. Could be one hidden just behind there possibly. But yeah, it's not the cleanest of carbies. So I get a bit of a clean up, bit of a tidy. I'm going to drill that little tiny jet out just there, because that's definitely not going to be helping. So I've got a little tiny set of thumb drills. I've got one here. I don't know if that's any good or not. Yeah, it is. So this little tiny thumb drill here, that's what I use to drill these jets out. So very, very gently, without breaking the drill bit, otherwise you'll be in trouble then. Let's give it a nice bit of a drill out all the way through, just to drill through that hole there. Now, if you feel that it's not going to go, then just leave it be, and just try and do it with a set of gas cleaners. Because if you snap that drill in there, you're looking for a brand new jet. If you don't have one, you've had it. So that does actually feel it's going to snap on me. So I'm going to get a bit of carburetor cleaner instead. You don't always have good success when you try and draw those jets out. I have had it before where, you know, I've actually come across it and I've decided to leave it be, because there's more trouble than it's worth to snap that jet. So quick clean through, carburetor cleaner through there. That's good. And I've got a set of files in my drawer. Set of gas files, there they are. You can't always drill them, because some of these jets, they are quite hard brass. So the thinnest one we do, that goes straight all the way in there, and just lets you have a good old-fashioned poke about in there. Just try and clean the walls of that up. And then through the main hole there. Give it another little carburetor bath. It's running nice, that is. That's good. Bit of carburetor spray in here. And I've got a little tiny bit of green scouring pad somewhere in my drawer of many things. Just want to use just to clean that up. A bit of the old rag or something just to clean it up. Can't find my green rag. That's probably gone for a burn somewhere. So just going to clean this bowl up best I can, get all that gunk. A bit more just in there I want to get. And it's only ethanol, that's all it is. That's better. So that's had a nice little clean in there. We're happy with that. Now I wouldn't recommend using carburetor cleaner spray actually on the carburetor itself, because it's got a rubber seat in there, and if you put carburetor spray in there, you'd like to expand that seat up. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use a different kind of spray. I've got WD-40 and all that sort of penetrating lube stuff, so I'll probably use some of that. Let me just find something to run through that, and I'll be back to you. Right, I've got some GT85 here, which is a bit like WD-40. It's a water displacement fluid, and it's not as harsh as carburetor cleaner. So in all the holes there is, push it through, and make sure that we're getting in every single hole that there is, and everything is running. If you find that something is not running, then you need to compress it out and put a file in there to make sure everything is running. And you better tell, because when you tip the carburetor upside down and run that in there, you're looking for it to run out somewhere else. So that's going right out through the middle. That's running nice. That one in there. That's the other side. And you've got one down here. Well, that's not running. It is now. So make sure they're all running. Every orifice there is. Just make sure you're getting right in there and having a good old holiday in there. And we're cleaning it all up so that everything is definitely running. You will find on this one, behind that Welch plug there'll be some holes just inside this carburetor. Now you can't get in there because that Welch plug is there without taking that Welch plug out. If you get a little tiny WD-40 straw and heat the end up just so you get a little bit of a 45-degree angle to it, you can then open that up, open that flap up, get right up inside there, and you can then clean them holes out as well. To make sure they're all running, because if they're not running, then it's all for nothing. And that's a slow idle circuit all down through there. You can then also, with your 45-degree angle, go all the way in, right the way down into the emulsion tube, and you can spray it right the way down through the emulsion tube as well. It's running lovely in there, that is. And get right down in that emulsion tube. In there, perfect. Yeah, all the way through, so that's good. So that carb is now cleaned. I'm going to compress it out with my air compressor. I'm going to clean this little tiny float up as well. Just get rid of some of that muck that's on there. That GT85 is good stuff. Don't lose no bits and bobs. Don't lose your float, your needle and what have you. So give it a good old-fashioned carb clean. Once you've got it all done, then just put your carburetor back together. Quite easy to do. In fact, we can do it together if you like. Now, as I say, I'm not 110% convinced this is going to fix the issue we got, because I've got a feeling it could be clutch springs. it could be just a little tiny bit sloppy. So put your pin in, and then that goes on in that main hole there. That just sits in, and then put your float pin in. Bit of dirt just there, you can see it. Get out, Mr. Dirt. We can then get our float bowl, put that on. We can then get our jet that's been cleaned. So now we know that this carburetor is cleaned, and you know, if the issue still persists on deciding to cause us problems, now we know it's going to be actually a clutch problem and nothing else. Don't ever do your carburetor bowl up with the ratchet. Just nick it down and then just get a spanner and just tighten down with a spanner. Okay, so that's the carby done. Let me get it fitted back onto the machine again, and I'll come back to you once I've done it. And if you want a quick little shot of what your linkages will look like on your Massport, they're all pretty much the same. Take a quick little screenshot of that now. You can see you got your throttle one there with the spring goes on the back end. You got your choke one there, which comes all the way down onto this one here, and then your throttle control comes underneath onto this little tiny micro switch here, and your mainspring there. So take a quick little shot. There you go, a bit of information for you. Not everyone shows you the throttle setups and what have you, spring setups. So take a quick screenshot. Let me now get the tank fitted back on. Riley Boy's come back. What's happening? Is it raining outside, Riley Boy?
Yeah.
Is it raining?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very nice. So I want to get the tank back on.
What tank?
And all I've got to do is, there is some fuel in this tank. I'm going to try and be a bit cunning here if I can. I would like just to try and pinch this all together.
What pinch?
Oh, hang on, before I do any of that, I'll put my crankcase breather pipe back on before I go getting ahead of myself, Mick. That's got to go into there.
Oh, Daddy.
And that's got to sit onto there. 2 seconds, Riley Boy. I'm just trying to put this all together, mate.
Someone taught you.
Yeah. And then that's on. So now what I'm hoping is tip it up that way, and then without spilling too much fuel, run that into the bottom of there. Yeah.
It's drippy.
Yeah, a bit drippy. Yeah.
Do you want
That'll be all right. That'll be all right. Push that tank all the way on. That's gone on nice. Bit of a wipe down. Spilt a little bit of fuel, not a lot.
Okay.
And now all we've then got to do is put the money head there, Riley Boy. Put your bolts back on the top of the tank system. So it'd be 2 screws. They actually screw into the tank itself, the bigger coarse thread ones. And then you've got a couple of 13mm nuts, which have got little tiny skirts on them. Those ones, they go onto the head bolts at the top. Get them done. I'll be back to you in 2 seconds. Okay, so that's now all back together. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try and fire up just inside the shed to see if it has secured it or not. HT is still off, so I can turn that cylinder, and that bell housing is still spinning, but the clutch isn't. So I'm just intrigued. I don't know if they're adjustable then clutches. I have to have a look inside there, but that'll involve taking that engine off. So what I'm now going to do, I'm now just going to turn, put the HT lid on. I'm going to fire this machine up, just waiting for any leaks to come through. And I want to see if now we can now run this machine. What I'm guessing to happen is that when I run it at full chat, the cylinder to move, but when I bring the throttle down to idle, I would like the cylinder to stop. That's the idea. So let's just fire it up, see what happens, see what we get. I won't be running it for long because I'm inside the shed. I'll open that door up as well, let a bit of air out. So a bit of throttle, we'll put a bit of choke on, choke that way, and we'll give it a pull, and we'll see what that does. Dead man in. Okay, so we're still not idling down low enough. Not quite low enough. It should go just a little bit more lower than that. Let's try again. Or choke. About there, but the lowest it will actually idle. So let me get a bail so I can just tie that throttle off, and then what I'm going to try and do, I'm trying to adjust that carburetor out a bit, just so I can try and get that to run a bit lower. I need to just try and find the clamp. I think it's one of my other mowers outside. Here it is. It's absolutely lashing down the rain outside in here. I'm going to grab a quick bail. Now there is a little bit more adjustment on this carburetor to be had. I just want it just to rev down, just a touch, not a lot. And I can do that by adjusting the screw down inside here. So let's just run that up again. Bit of throttle. What I'm going to do now, I think I've sussed out the actual throttle. I'm going to spin this machine round, and now I'm going to adjust the spring on the other side. Let me just spin it round for you, and I want to bring you guys around so you can see what I'm actually going to do. So down in here, there's a little tiny tab which I bent forward initially because it was bent I bent backwards, sorry, because it was bent all the way forward initially. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the machine running again, and I'm going to get hold of this, repair along those pliers and bend that back so that I can get the machine to idle all the way down. So it's going to be bent from here back this way, okay? So that's what I'm going to do now. Let me just fire it back up again. And the idea is to have this machine idling so low so that those blades stop running. That's the idea. So let me just fire it back up. Let me just move back a bit here and a bit of room. Okay, so I've got a bail on it, so I can run. I can run the machine with the dead man handle tied back, bit of throttle, and I'll adjust it so it's idling on the control. Then come back and adjust the car. Oh, can't get a big pull without smashing my knuckles on something. Okay, so now I've got that machine running as low as I can get it, and the cylinder was just about So that tells me, unfortunately, after all the carburetor cleaning, the springs have weakened on that clutch, and the springs need to be adjusted or renewed, because they're just not allowing the machine to idle all the way down, and it is a 4-stroke, so it needs to be running at a certain rev, but them clutch springs need to be tighter so that they don't cut in until the throttle is actually at full speed. Okay, so part 1 on this Massport now done, and we've established that now I can get the machine to idle down to a certain RPM. However, that clutch will still engage on the cylinder, so I either need 1 or 2 things to happen. For the engine to rev lower, which I cannot physically do. There's no mixture on here for me to adjust that. Or the second thing to do is to remove the engine off of the machine and inspect the clutch and the springs. Maybe the springs have one snapped or what have you. I won't know that until I take the engine off and do that. So in the next video you're going to see will be me undoing the engine, take the engine off, push that to one side, and we'll inspect the clutch and see what we can't find out about the clutch on here. Hopefully one of the springs has just come off. I doubt it very much. Or it could be a little bit rusty or a little bit seized up. Get them to move, that could fix it. But I've got a sneaky feeling it's going to be a new set of clutch springs, which I should really enjoy doing. So in the next video you'll see me get on and take the engine off and have a look at the clutch on here, and hopefully that will then sort out the running issue. The machine runs and drives lovely, but it just will not stop engaging that cylinder, and it's got to stop engaging when you bring the mower down to a decent idle. That way the blades are not spinning all the time. So that'd be in the next video. If this is the first time you're watching Micks Mowers and Mower Man, hit the subscribe button and whack the old bell, set notifications to all, that way you'll be told next time I upload another video. I look forward to the next episode of Micks Mowers very soon. Been touring, guys and girls, much more importantly, take it easy.